And for some reason, we're just stopping at a good point now.
Yeah, that's the way it does it. Okay, hopefully that's good. That's all right. So there's a group called Move. I saw this at my communion when I was cutting the cake. So they were sort of like this Rastafarian, back to earth, pro sort of black liberation group. They had a black mayor in Philly at that time named Wilson Good. So this group of individuals took over a row home. They blew up 9 city blocks. They bombed 9 city blocks in a city. In I forget what the date is, Move, if you look it up, Christine.
Well, was that in, I don't know, that's what, something similar happened, but in Baltimore. But it was done against, yeah.
So if they wanted to stop that Derek Chauvin riot,
they could have.
Easily, no problem. With the National Guard, not even bringing in the Marines. The Marines definitely stopped. Watts had the Marines. Watts dealt with the Marines. Those were National Guards. But here's the thing. They were never brought in. Why weren't they brought in? Exactly. There's a whole lot of things you have to look at about why that happened. Like, why was that bomb dropped? Could they have done it with Frank Rizzo? Or did it have to be a black mayor to drop a bomb on black citizens? Okay, so now you think that Minnesota's like Mississippi now, which it's not. Matter of fact, Mississippi in the South is not as racist as people think. I think those places are just like everybody knows where they stand. Like, you guys are here, we're here, and it's understood. It's the people who try to jump in the middle, they're like, hold up, that's not how we do it. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I think the movies have maybe added a little more imagination to it. But no, anybody who's experienced real racism, no, that's not. Anybody who experienced real racism it's not dressed like the movies. It's not like the movies at all.
The mailman used to walk into the building every single day at 2:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I worked at. His name was Ben. Didn't talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I probably went about like 3 years without even talking to him, just say, how you doing, sir? You know? Until one day we talked about sports, but the way that I broke in with him, I asked him, how do you deal with all these like, I'm sure he told me where he was from, you know, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how did you deal with all that back then? I wouldn't know. That's what he told me. I'm like, because I deal with like snobs and just superficial people at work, you know, like with horrible attitudes. He goes, I'll pay them no mind. Like, they're not even there. Like, they don't even exist. But if they get close to me, or they get in my face, I'm fighting back.
That's the Southern way.
That's what he said. Like, and I'm gonna tell you, there was people that would try to reach inside and get their mail while he was doing it. He would slap their hand, and he said, if you want to complain, you're interfering with federal work. You don't want to go there. He knew his rights, man.
Southern people are not soft people. They're some of the toughest people you'll meet in your life.
He dropped some knowledge on me, and he said, like, half of the stuff that he sees now, he says, I'm completely out of it. You know, I don't want nothing to do with it. No, he said this is the snowflake generation, always whining and complaining. Get dirty and get into a fight or something. You know.
Yeah, it is. Sacrifice. Nobody sacrifices anymore.
And then he said, and then like I told him, you know, all these movements that are happening are being sponsored by one person. He goes, yeah, I know. George Soros. He sponsored all these movements, and he's pitting people against each other. That's the divide and conquer, man. You know?
Well, you can't have divide and conquer unless the people are willing to divide. And in America, we're willing to divide.
Canada, right now it's 2 camps, man.
Canada,
2 camps.
Look, you got Canada. They're multi-ethnic. A lot of countries are multi-ethnic. A lot of countries do not have homogeneous populations anymore. You're not going to go to a country where it's all one people. With the way immigration, migration, and all work. You go to Germany. Germany has a lot of people from Turkey, a lot of people from Asia, Africans. So it's not one of these things where you're just going to go to a country anymore and it's going to be like all the same kind of people.
That's why when I went to Guatemala, you know, I went to Guatemala last summer, and I stayed over there for like about 4 months. I felt such peace. I felt like everything was moving at a good pace. I saw all 4 races over there. I saw people like me, lighter but with blue eyes. I saw the indigenous people. I saw black people with African hair, had Afro hair, and then I saw black people with Indian hair. You know, they call them Garifunos over there. They're in the Caribbean. You know, the way they would talk to you, you know, like, it's the closest thing to that Southern hospitality, man. It was just, they would ask you how you doing, good morning, you have a great night, how's everything, all right, you good. They help each other out if they see you, you know. I just felt what you would call something that I don't feel in the U.S. right now, man. Now when I walk through the streets, we have people who are just so defensive, man. Either one has a shirt that says what they, you know, nowadays you could put a shirt, you know. Like, there's a lot of women that are feminists now. They hate men, you know. So that means if they're wearing that shirt, do not even get close to them and try to talk to them. Automatic pushing you away, like you said. They don't want you to talk to each other no more.
But you got to ask them, nobody's really standing on a cause anymore. It's emotional. So people are not, like, I can understand if feminists came at on a logical perspective. Okay, this is what men do. From a logical, even scientific, okay, I can listen, but it's emotion. There's no reason. Or racist. Listen, the reason, you got to look at race, and that's where the Great Scrub came, because after the Great Scrub came, something called race was developed by the French. I think it was a French scientist.
No, everything came from the French Revolution. All these movements, man.
But there's no such thing as race. The is the human race. So for them to say race, what they did was they tried to indoctrinate the people to believe this superior race so they could dominate the country. Because look, it's science is against you and the Bible is against you. Look, white Jesus and science. You're ours. You belong to us, you savages. Now start mining our gold while we cut one hand off. But there's no race. It's fictitious. It's like me saying that there's a boogeyman. Prove there's a boogeyman. Prove me there. But, okay, so race. When I say race to you, what do you think? Race.
Well, they put everybody in a category now.
No, when I say race, I say the word race. If we were sitting there, race, what do you think about?
What they taught us, man, how they just, you know, there's black people, there's white people, there's Latinos.
When I say race, what do you think about?
Same thing. I think of groups divided, but I also think of competition. I'm thinking
competition.
That word.
Competition.
And that's why there's this guy that works at the Food for Less, which you call. I would see him on my way back from work or coming out of the train, you know. And he would tell me, he was like, "Hey, you ever seen a black person?" And I'm like, "They're all over." And he's like, "No, but really, like the color black, it doesn't exist, man. It's just different shades of brown." So you ever seen a white person like that color white? They put us all in a box, man. Say you're here, you're here. Now when I go to the hospital, they make me sign a paper, right? It says, "What do you identify with?" Well, what are you, Latino, Hispanic? But then they only give you certain options, and the only option they give me is white. And I'm like, but I'm not white. But there's no other option. Either you're Asian, or you're European, white, black. But there's no more middle.
Because that's the team. Race. We're racing against each other.
They've eliminated that just in the last 10 years.
No, they haven't.
Just in the last 10 years.
They haven't eliminated it because it's only eliminated when there's no black on there. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. If they're eliminating everything else but black, why would they have it on there? Because they're trying to track where the black people are.
You guys ever heard?
That's it.
You guys ever heard of the Colorgy Project?
If they're making everybody white. If they're making everybody white but not the black people, why would they have a census? They're not making everybody one. They're seeing where everybody's at.
But I'm saying that Colorgy plan, right? This guy that lived in the 30s, 40s, wrote a bunch of interesting papers. He said he wanted to have a master race, and that race was going to be black, white, and Asian mixed all in one.
Puerto Rican?
You seen that movie?
Filipino? That's Filipino.
You seen the movie Brave New World? Something like that.
Well, with genetic engineering, they're not going to need to do that because, I mean, before science came along, they're going to be able to...
happening. That his whole goal was of having Europe mix completely.
But you see, back in the day, they had the whitening. That goes against the whitening philosophy, which is also a philosophy where they breed the savagery out of you. They had in Australia, they had in America with the Native Americans, they've had in every black country Argentina, they eliminated the black population through whitening.
Right.
So that seems like a concept that on the fringe, because while he's saying that, every other country, everywhere from America down to every South America, I mean, El Salvador, there's a point they didn't even let black people in the country. Like, you cannot come in the country.
And now they have a Palestinian president.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But not a black president. I'm saying, so the whitening has been something that they're even continually doing, you know? So I don't think that the powers that be in America want to combine. If they did, you'd see it. You'd see black Russians. You'd see black Asians. If they really want to combine all the so-called, quote-unquote, power sort of ethnic traits, they do it, but they don't. They just want to find it in their own. And they're willing to go to technology to do it.
That's what I'm saying. That's where this guy Parag kind of comes into play. Because of the connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
By you eliminating borders all over the world, he wants the whole human race to be one. That's where everything's being pushed to. And at the same time, you know why he wants that? Because nobody's going to have what you would call... you're not going to be able to identify with that country because you're not from there.
Mm-hmm. Like America.
And then you left your country. And then you can't go back over there because the state that it is. So it's like you're a wandering person of the world. You're not tied down to a culture unless it's given to you. And the new culture is technology.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay. So this guy who wants to...
You gotta be...
no, but laughing at the philosophy, because if he wants no borders...
You gotta be connected to the grid, man.
No, but what country do you think they're all going to come to? Well, okay, there's no borders. What, do you think everybody's going to run to Portugal? But
you know the reason America was created for, right? It was for that specific reason. So that's why you have Satanists right now opening up churches and doing that, because the freedom of religion. Everybody came here. I've had a crazy theory that I feel that America was created because they want the whole world's DNA here, and they're here.
But it's in Brazil too.
And then that's what happened in 2003. I wrote a paper in 2003 about the Human Genome Project, right? Uh-huh. A guy wrote the same thing that I wrote in 2013 and won a Nobel Prize.
But listen,
they have everybody's DNA on Earth, right? They could start creating their own little master race now, man. Using the best. You know, there's designer babies now.